Skull.
You're kidding. Just one shot?
They're not all zombies, Doug. How do you fight this thing?
Maybe we could drown it in A1 sauce.
Well, sometimes that is better. The person you put up there ain't the person that comes back.
It's a dance song to get down with. About 6 feet under. Get there.
Ooh, I love this song. I'm hung up in a grave situation.
And now we come to the thrilling final episode of our radio drama.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Rotten Views podcast. Hope you guys are all doing well out there today in YouTube land, Spotify land, Apple Podcast land, wherever you guys are listening to this or watching this. I appreciate you guys for coming back for another episode. We are on episode 139, I believe. We're a couple episodes ahead again, or still ahead, so that's good. It's actually 7 o'clock in the morning on a rainy Sunday here. Just got my daughter breakfast and whatnot, and hopefully she's gonna stay in her room long enough for me to record this and not have to edit out a lot of, random daddy questions. Let's hope for the best, and we'll see how it goes. As always, we're going to put the, shameless plugs out there in the beginning. If you guys can follow me on all social medias, at Typhonstein, all the links will be down below. You follow me on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. We got the YouTube channel. The YouTube channel being the main thing that we're pushing. We got the old episodes of the podcast coming out on YouTube. We have weekly gameplay videos that come out every Wednesday, and then we also have the ton of short content from various art videos and whatnot, so definitely go check those out because those are a lot of fun. But I know enough of these shameless self plugs and whatnot, and you guys are just here to listen to me talk about a movie. We're watching The Dark from 1979, not the same movie we watched last week, but this is a different one, and I found this one upon looking up the trailer for the other one to insert into the audio clip of the podcast. But this one's from 1979. It's rated R for an hour and 32 minutes, and you can find the full-length movie in one shot on YouTube. I was stupid, and I didn't realize until later on that even on the cover image for this movie, for the poster, it says Casey Kasem is in the movie. I did not realize that until Casey Kasem came up on his scene where he's a police pathologist, I believe. And if you don't know who Casey Kasem is, I don't know what you've been doing with your life. He's Shaggy. So that's all I gotta say. He's also Cliff Jumper from the Transformers 1986 movie as well. So if you don't know who he is, I don't know what to tell you. I really don't know what to tell you. But also, I didn't know upon looking this movie up. This movie has two directors, John Bud Cardos, who was also worked in the transportation, and I believe he was an actor and a stuntman. But the other director is Toby Hooper, the guy you might know from Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Life Force, and Poltergeist, to just name a few of them. Texas Chainsaw Massacre being one of my all-time favorite movie series altogether. And I did not know that until looking it up on IMDb. So like I said, this movie came out in 1979. It's a sci-fi horror movie. It's got a whopping, there's only one rating I found. I could have looked it up on Letterboxd by then. It's got 4.2 out of 10 on IMDb for a score, and 78% of Google users like this movie. The original release date for this movie is April 27th, 1979. Like I said, distributed by Film Venturas International. It's produced by Dick Clark. We're going to have a quick rundown synopsis. Someone or something indiscriminate killing and mutilation spree during nighttime. Frustrated by the clueless police, the father of the first victim is looking for answers, no matter how far-fetched they are. Let's see, bigger storyline. At night, the Mangler stalks the streets of Los Angeles, killing and mutilating random victims. On the trail are a TV reporter, the father of one of the victims, a police detective, but despite their efforts, only the mysterious psychic Dorenza knows what the killer is and how to stop it. The taglines are, after fear, beyond terror, there is dark. Apparently there's like no goose on IMDb, which is kind of disappointing. But apparently under the trivia, from the screenplay stage and all the way through the production, The Dark Knight 79, an antagonist was an abused autistic child. Wait, what? The antagonist was originally supposed to be an abused autistic child who had been locked in the attic for his entire life. In the original script, his house burned down, allowing him to escape and take vengeance on the outside world. Towards the end of the shoot, the film's producers decided to capitalize on the success of Alien from 1979 and demanded extensive reshoots to change the killer into an extraterrestrial. Which is so fucking weird because this is all about a werewolf alien space creature thing that has laser eyes. Spoiler, my bad, but it is what it is. And if you guys don't want to be spoiled about this movie that came out in 1979, feel free to pause this episode right now. Type it in on YouTube. Make sure you type in the right year. And you can watch the whole movie for free on YouTube. Because I think it's fun. It's not great. I think it's fun. But we'll give our review of it at the end of this episode. But yeah, definitely go check it out. I think it's worth watching at least once. Hell, it's got Casey Kasem in it for like fucking 3 scenes. Not a lot, but it's Casey Kasem, and I love my Scooby-Doo. So, go watch it. With that being said, we're going to jump right into the movie right now, and the movie
presents Saturday Night at the Movies, the television series which each week brings you the finest in recent motion pictures. Tonight,
somewhere in the dark of infinite space, there is a form of life that man has reason to fear. It is as old as the universe. It is real. It is evil. And now it is here. After fear, beyond terror, there is the dark.
All right, so a girl got murdered. What else is new?
Beheaded? Mutilated?
I loved her, Mooney. She didn't deserve to have her face torn to pieces just because she was alone at night on one of your streets.
Well, I'd think that you people could tell us whether or not he was black, white...
Whatever it is, gentlemen, he's inhumanly strong.
Another girl, Mooney?
I don't have to tell you nothing.
You're not talking to some kid, Mooney. You're talking to the father of a murdered girl.
4 killings, still no pattern. I mean, where the hell is the pattern?
Look, the flesh samples, they're consistent.
So, what are you getting at?
We have a creature that identifies with nothing known on Earth.
William Devane, Kathy Lee Crosby, Richard Jacob, Keenan Wynn. Once they have felt the terror of the dark, there is only one way on earth they will ever see the dawn. Are you prepared for the terror of the dark? The dark. Not all alien encounters will be friendly.
starts out with the intro talking about these all the species of animals on the planet, how the various ways they adapt to either survive or to kill other animals to survive. I'm going to try and maybe get that intro clip also inserted in after the trailer, but we'll see how it goes. As we are looking into space, then we see a meteor going through the sky over the city as the intro credits start to roll and the title screen pops up on the screen. We then see this blind man walking down the street with his cane as we hear like voice whisperings in the darkness. The music starts to pick up as we see a fair amount of traffic moving through the city. I think we're in Santa Monica or somewhere around there. I think they said, maybe it was Sacramento they said. I don't remember now. I know in the other thing I said Los Angeles, but we'll get to that later, I guess. Then we cut to this blind man walking down the alleyway. No fear in the world because he's blind. All he sees is darkness anyway, so it's not going to make a difference to him anyways. Then we see this lady walking down a dark alleyway. It's like an alleyway sidewalk kind of area. And then this guy starts following her while he's having a smoke. And he's like, oh, she's going to get murdered by that guy. Yeah. It's setting it up. It's setting it up. Then the walking speed starts to pick up and the music starts to pick up, and then the guy just literally takes off on another way, and she's up against, I think, this fence, and she thinks she's safe now. She has nothing to worry about. And then this monster hand pulls her into the darkness, and she starts screaming for her life. And well, she's the first victim. She does not make it at all. Then we see this party happening on a yacht, and this young guy tries to mess up a girl's game of solitaire. And this is Dorenza, I think is her name. She's like this gypsy fortune teller type person. She says there's no way she can save him at all, and pretty much tells him to go away because he's pretty much cursed. Then we see the cops showing up to a scene as they get into another car. I think it's Mooney and his partner showing up, and I think they go off in another police car. Then we see this hippie-looking guy who is Roy. He's the father of the girl who just died. He's also going by another alias because apparently he's a famous writer and he doesn't want anyone to know what he looks like or who he is. Anyways, he's on a payphone as someone's talking to him. He literally just drops the phone because this guy's like, you gotta show up because, you need to come to identify your daughter's body because nobody's going to be able to identify her because, decapitate it. And then the operator comes in and he's like, if you want to talk longer, you're going to have to add more money. He's like, well, just give me 2 seconds, and then she literally just cuts him off. Then we see this fancy looking Sherlock Holmes guy. His name is Sherman. He's also the owner or the head guy at the news station. He's chatting it up with Zoe because Zoe wants to get off of her fashion detail and reporting, and she actually wants to start taking on more serious cases, and she wants to take on this case of all cases. And he's like, you don't have to go to the morgue to see it. Just go talk to the other people that had interviews and use the case from that point of view. I don't want you going to the morgue to look at a decapitated young girl. And then we see Roy with one of Mooney's partners, and he's at the morgue looking at the body to identify it, and they pull it out of the tray area, whatever the hell that's called. I don't know. And he looks at it and he literally just wants to vomit because of how badly it mutilated. Roy is asking what they know so far, and apparently it's not much of anything at all. We find out it's 2 cops at this point showing him, because I didn't recognize the first guy, but it's Mooney's partner. And then Mooney comes in, and we find out that apparently Mooney actually put Roy away, or he put him away for manslaughter a while back, because apparently Roy's girlfriend was shacking up with another biker or something, and he went apeshit on him, something along those lines. They don't really go into it too much in detail. We find out the girl that died was Roy's daughter. At first I thought maybe it was his wife and he was just off on like a trip somewhere, or they're divorced or whatnot, but no, it's his daughter. And then we see Zoe, she's on TV talking about the accident or the crime that happened, and then we see the gypsy lady fortune teller Dorenza. She's watching TV saying how it's going to happen again because she can pretty much see the future. Then we see this guy going home with a hooker, which I assume is a hooker. He steps inside she steps off to go get some smokes for when they're done. He's going into his business where he's turning on the lights and he puts up the close sign because apparently they're going to do it at the business, because later on we find out he's a married man with a child, so that makes sense why he's doing it in his workplace. Anyways, he's got the lights on in the office, but then the lights keep starting to flicker, and then they start going out and staying out. She grabs his flashlight to go figure out the problem. He goes down to this big basement looking area where he starts hearing noises, and for what reason he thinks it's the girl that he brought back that's playing games on him. I'm not sure why you would think this, but whatever works for you, I guess. And he's searching, he's expecting to find her, and he keeps hearing noises in the dark as the music starts to play. It's like some chanting or talking, also like a really low tone. And then we see this person come up above him with red eyes, and they literally shoot lasers out of their eyes. It hits him and he literally explodes, and that's the end of him. Then we see Roy at some pool hall, and he's being questioned by Mooney, and Mooney's starting to piss Roy off because he's like, well, when's the last time you saw her? He's like, well, it was just a month ago, we went out for lunch. He's like, well, does she have any kinky dominatrix kind of friends that she would have got down and freaky with? That's probably not something you want to ask a father after he just witnessed his daughter be murdered, or not even witnessed, but saw his dead daughter's body. And then this random guy in the pool hall comes over to talk to Roy because he knows he's Dupree, because he's like a writer by trade, when we find out, and that Roy's just a disguise that he's using. And he's like, well, how you know it's me? He's like, your picture's on the back of my book. Okay, valid. That's very valid. And it seems like Mooney's kind of shocked that he's Dupree. He's like, well, does the judge know you're using an alias? Blah, 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 bullcrap. And it's like, well, I don't think it really matters because you shut your face. Then they have some back and forth, and Mooney wants Roy to disappear and stay out of the way of the case because he just thinks Roy's there to make the police force and everyone else on the force look bad. So at this point, a phone call comes in at the bar, and it's for Mooney, and he's got to race off to another case. That's when actually Roy falls behind him, and I think his Corvette. Then we see Zoe on set talking to one of her co-hosts, and they're talking about how she did the work on this like new case that they're talking about, and they work for the KFVI news station, probably like the main news station for the area, I assume. And then we cut and see the hooker talking to Mooney and his partner, and you know they're trying to question her, wondering what happened. She's like, I got nothing. I went to go get smokes. I came back, and poof, he was gone, or he was dead. I'm not sure if she went through the building to try and find him, and then she found him dead, or what the whole issue is there. But this is also in a black neighborhood, and of course, this being the time period of this movie, the cops are fucking straight assholes to them all. They don't give it two shits at all. Anyways, they then take her down to the police station because they want to question her because they feel like she's holding answers back on them because she's also a black lady, and God forbid something would happen racially. And then all the crowd comes around. They start questioning them. The cops is saying like, it takes you too long to show up in this kind of neighborhood. And the cops are just like, well, you want a badge and do the work for yourself then, huh? It's not so easy now, is it? Just being straight up assholes, and their tone and everything towards them. And then as they're getting ready to leave in the car, the crowd starts shaking the car a little bit like they're going to make a tip over, but the car just drives off. It's like, oh, that was disappointing. I want to see a riot. And then we see Roy setting up a CB police radio scanner inside of his car so he can hear of any of the cases or any leads that might lead him to more answers about the death of his daughter. And then we see Roy showing up to where Mooney is and wanting to know if there's another girl that was murdered. And Mooney starts questioning him about his police scanner in the car. He's like, it's just, so I'm I know everything, and you're not, keeping shit from me, essentially. And that's when Mooney gets more pissed off. He's like, you're just trying to make the police force look bad, so why don't you just go away before you start messing up the case. And we see Mooney going into the station, meeting up with his partner, and the Dorenza lady, the fortune teller, is there, saying she's the only one that can help them and stop and capture the killer. They of course don't believe her at all, and they're like, well, can you give us any information? She's like, no, I can't. Can you give us any information on what pictures should look like? No, sir, I can't. If I do, I'll go talk to someone who's a little bit nicer. And they pretty much just laugh her off. She's saying that the guy who she met on the yacht that tried to mess up her solitaire game, he's going to be one of the people on the kill list, apparently, because she saw it when she met him. She saw the vision of this like creature in black essentially coming out of the darkness to kill the guy. Anyway, she goes to leave, and they pretty much just laugh her off like she's just a random crazy person in the 70s. We then jump and see Roy in his fancy home as he's taking forever to answer the goddamn phone that rings forever because there's no goddamn answer machine. And I guess it's just like some lawyers calling to talk about the death of his daughter and about his ex-wife and how she's nowhere to be found. And he just mentions how he's getting his daughter cremated. Then we see Zoe and one of her fellow news reporters getting into a car as they're heading out to interview the family of the man who just died at the workplace. Then we see Mooney and his partner showing up where a doctor is showing slides of cells from the murder, and this is the pathologist. Is that the proper way to say that? Anyways, it's Casey Kasem. He's the doctor. He's a fancy guy. He's showing shots of cells that were found underneath the fingertips, and apparently for whatever reason Mooney's partner makes a joke that it looks like pizza because that's all he worries about, the food. Whatever works for you, dude. You're a sleazy piece of shit cop, so it's fine. You're depicting that character very, very well. But yeah, they're also saying how the cells are dead and that they're a gray color, and then one of the other officers makes a joke about it being a zombie, and that's when the captain speaks up. He's like, you don't say zombie in my town. I don't want people talking about goddamn zombies in this town, alright? I don't know why he gets so triggered about the word zombies, but he really does get triggered by it. And then one of the other doctors pretty much speaks up, he's like, there's not much we can do. We have no fingerprints, we have no leads, no nothing. So all we can pretty much do is warn people and ask them not to go out late at night, and that's what pisses off the captain as well. He's like, I'm not gonna have my townspeople worried about this. We're gonna patrol places tomorrow. We're gonna check all the abandoned buildings, and we're just gonna let everyone go on like it's a normal normal life. It's just 2 freak accidents. It's no big deal. They're not connected by any means. And yeah, then all the cops just go off the search. And then after everyone leaves the room, the captain tells Mooney and his partner to stay. And he's like, Roy is applying a lot of pressure right now at this situation, and I'm not one bit happy about it. When people apply more pressure to me, I'm going to apply more pressure to you, so you get your goddamn case solved, or I'm going to kick your ass, essentially. Because captains, everyone in this police force seems like they're a great person, great, well-maintained, everyone loves each other, and they're all friendly. They're all definitely friendly. Then we cut to the news station as they are watching back the report that Zoe just had with the man's family who just died in that business by the laser eyes. That's when we find out we're in Santa Monica, but we also find out the guy also had a wife and a child, and he was pretty much setting up a night with a hooker just, to try and relieve some stress, apparently. Maybe they were just going to sit down, play some cards, and have some smokes. I'm sure that's all they were going to do, right? They weren't going to get down and dirty, right? It's not a horror movie. We see Zoe and Sherman, the head guy behind the news station, listening back and watching the interview, and he pretty much doesn't want A1 to showboat this case anymore. He doesn't want the people in the town to be worried or anything by the sounds of it. And Sherman also looks like a Sherlock Holmes style character, putting that out there, like this is Irishman or some sort. He's a weird looking character. He's definitely a very unique. And he pretty much doesn't want Zoe chasing after the killer because he's worried about her, and he takes her down the elevator so he can take her to her car because, he's a nice guy, right? And he doesn't want her getting murdered in that dark spot because apparently that's where these murders are happening. As he's walking to her car, he's like, oh, sure wish there was some more lights down here, to be honest with you. It could be a little bit brighter down there. And that's, setting up the mood that they're a little bit scared. And then he literally just yells to break the tension, and she freaks out. And she's like, I'm scared enough as is. Can you not fucking be an asshole, please? But we also hear, like, this chanting that comes in the darkness as well before the creature attack, which is just something that happens every single time. And then she gets in her car, drives away, but then off in the distance we hear more footsteps, and then Sherman yells again to try and break the tension, and then all the lights go out and he starts freaking out. So he starts panicking in the garage and starts, trying to run as fast as he can. He's got like a limp too. But he finally makes it to the elevator and gets in before anything can get him, but he looks terrified at this moment. We then see Roy going to his fancy get-together where he bumps into the guy from the start of the movie, I think, as he's walking into the restaurant. I could be wrong in that moment, but he does bump into the guy and they kind of lock eyes with each other for a minute. Then as he's sitting down at his fancy table at the restaurant, he has a waitress pass a note to, of course, Zoe, who's there, and I'm not sure how he knows. I guess he would know her from the TV reporting, but I'm not sure how he knows that she's actually at this restaurant at this exact moment. Then she comes over, sits down at his table for a minute, and then he starts questioning her and wondering what she knows that she couldn't mention on the air. That's when she pretty much says she knows nothing. He gets a little annoyed, but then she just gets up and walks away. It's like, so were you there stalking her the whole time? Is that how you know she's there? Anyways, maybe you're a better reporter or cop than anyone else in this goddamn movie. Then we see this small ass bartender trying to arm wrestle this big guy. He kicks his ass, and then we find out the big guy and his buddy are going to try and hunt down the killer tonight and take it out with 357 Magnum, or at least try to. That's the game plan. Then the big guy is leaving. We see the blind guy come in and pretty much bump into him. He doesn't think anything of it because it's just a blind guy with the walking stick. Not sure how he made it into the bar or why he's even at the bar or how he knows where he's going, but it is what it is. The blind guy with the walking stick shows up a lot throughout this movie. Then we see the big guy walking down the street, and then the music slowly starts to change, and then we can hear some sounds as it sounds like the creature is stalking him from behind, and then we actually see the shadow of the creature up on one of the buildings as the light's coming in, and then literally the creature just grabs the guy by the face, picks him up, throws him through a fence, and then literally just kills him with, I think, the laser eyes again. Or I could be wrong. But he gets murdered pretty fucking quickly. So we can just tell that the creature has a lot of strength because he picks up this really big guy and just tosses him through a fence like he's nothing. He literally grabs him by the face and picks him up that way. And then we see the gypsy lady looking at herself in a mirror as she's opening up her shirt, and she's like grabbing her throat a little bit, I think, at this point. And then she's imagining someone riding a horse. This person gets bucked off the horse, in which I didn't know it was Zoe because I glanced up at I couldn't tell it was Zoe, but apparently it's supposed to be Zoe. And she gets bucked off the horse, and then Dorenzi shows up where Zoe is. I call her the gypsy lady a lot because that's just easier than saying Dorenzi. But whatever, just so you know that I'm talking about Dorenzi when I say gypsy lady because that's what I have her typed in on my notes as. Anyways, and then she's talking to her, and then Zoe has no idea who the lady is or how she even just showed up there, and I don't know how she showed up there either. Is she like a teleporter? I don't know what the hell's going on on here? Then we see Mooney and his partner at the crime scene where the big guy got murdered. The captain says if they don't come up with something soon, he's going to call in the National Guard. And Mooney's like, don't do that. That's going to make us look stupid. He's like, well, at this point, we got nothing to go by. We got no clues. We got nothing at all. So we might as well do something before everyone in town gets murdered. And then we see this protest going on outside the police station. And Mooney notes that he just thinks it's the news station trying to make the cops look bad and taking the sides of the protesters because Mooney's just that kind of cop. He's just a dickhead in general. Mooney just walks in front of the camera and says that this channel sucks. And Sherman's like, you know what? Just gonna keep reporting. Just gonna keep the cameras running. You're not gonna make us stop because we're covering the news and you guys really do suck because, well, guess what? You haven't solved this crime or have any leads on it whatsoever. So that's your own fault. Then it's nighttime. We see Zoe in a building that's very dark as we hear like the chanting sound coming from the darkness again before the monster attacks. So she gets spooked and starts running down the hallways, and that's when she bumps into Roy, who's in the same hallway as her somehow. I'm not sure what the building is, but they're in the same building together too. And that's when Roy mentions, you know, sorry, I sometimes looking down, didn't mean to bump into you, my bad. Funny enough, we're in the same spot, right? And then he walks her down the hallway and he offers to take her out for drinks, and that's when she mentions that she's not much for going out to places that have lots of noise and people and whatnot. So he's like, I got the perfect place for you. I'm going to take you to my place. And then we see Dorenzi at home as she hears the chanting sound, and I thought she was looking out a window, but she's actually apparently looking in a mirror that has like the breath coming up on the mirror. That's why I thought it was an outside window. And then we see the monster's face appear, and then it shatters, and then it looks like a fucking tornado goes through her home because everything just starts flying all over the place. Apparently this monster has really bad breath or powerful breath that can just make anything fly all around and knock everything over, just destroy it. Like a 5-year-old, I should know how this is because my daughter's not even 5 anymore, but she destroys everything. You parents will know the issues of having a child that just likes to go zoom around and mess everything up. Anyways, back to the movie. Then we see this. I don't know if this is going to be politically correct because I don't know the political term. Short person, midget, dwarf, whatever you want to call him. He's selling papers where he's apparently the news article is the Mangler in the city is actually a zombie, and that's the actual story that they're running. Then Mooney comes up, takes a paper from the guy, like, because he knows the guy by name, and the guy's like, 15 cents. He just shakes his hand. He's like, yeah, see you later, bud. I'm not paying for this. Just to show you how much of a dickhead Mooney is. That's when the guy pretty much says, you know, F you, asshole. Then we see Roy. He took Zoe home, back to his home for some drinks because, you know, I'm a fancy writer. You should see my place. Which apparently being a writer does really fucking well because he's got a really fancy car. He's got a really fancy home. I guess I'm in the wrong career path. Then again, I can't write worth shit, so I'm just I'm not going to do that. I can barely podcast, but I'm getting sidetracked like always. And then Zoe starts talking about the gypsy girl that she met while getting bucked off the horse, Dorenzi. She's mentioning how Dorenzi tried to like warn her about something that's going to happen soon and whatnot to try and give her, I guess, clues, or maybe she's worried that she's going to be one of the victims as well. I'm not really too fucking sure what the point of that is. Anyways, we then see this random blonde girl walking through a parking garage as all the lights start to flicker and go. And then the chanting starts to start from the darkness, and we see more feet moving towards her, so she starts to run. Then she hides behind this concrete pillar, and the creature literally just breaks through the pillar like no problem. I think she tries to hide behind a van, but he moves the van out of the way, and then the laser eyes come out, and she's lasered to death. Then we see the guy from the yacht wake up screaming as he's holding his throat, and he just literally saw that girl die. So apparently that means that he's the next in line to die, and he just talks up as he was having a bad dream. And then we see the police on the scene of the girl who just died, and there's a crowd of people around watching, and the captain isn't happy that Mooney pretty much sucks at his job and hasn't found any leads at all. And Mooney's annoyed because he just thinks everyone's out to make him look bad. And the captain's like, I don't care, just do your job and get this crime scene solved and get the killer captured because I'm tired of this shit and I'm tired of us looking bad. Then we see Roy showing up at the fancy yacht, talk to the owner who held the party at the beginning of the movie, and that he's there to try and figure out who the gypsy fortune teller really is, Dorenzi. And she pretty much knows who it is and just gives him I believe a phone number or something, but she's not sure the exact house number. So then Roy has to make some phone calls. The phone board or whatever it was called back then, the operator system, I guess, to try and figure out this stuff. And she's like, well, I can't give you the address. And he's like, well, I'm just trying to figure out that the phone is still active, because he keeps calling and nothing happens. And then he works his way around it, and she gives him the address anyways, because apparently he's a smooth talking writer, so he gets what he wants. She pretty much tells him to dial Pandora. I guess maybe that's the operator's thing. Anyway, we then see Roy showing up to Dorenzi's home, knocking on the door, peeking inside, and we see the place completely trashed. He's like, all right, well, I'm just gonna let myself in and see what happened in here, because I'm a good reporter and writer. This could give me some more leads on my new book, which I'm probably going right after this movie's done. Anyways, he's looking around the home a bit, and he sees this trash, and then he hears someone crying off in the distance, so he heads upstairs, and we see her sitting on bed, looking like she just had a stroke, and she's talking weird, and we find out it wasn't a window. She saw him in the mirror, and that is not of this world, and each time it kills, it gets stronger, and that tonight is the last chance to stop it before it's too strong and can't be stopped anymore. Then we see the captain, Mooney, and some others sitting down to talk about the future plans for this case, and that's when Casey Kasem tells him that all tests show that this person or killer is not a creature from Earth, and it's something else. Then we see Roy and Zoe going off together to try and hunt down the next victim before it gets caught by the creature, and after they leave his home, they are trailed by Mooney, because Mooney's now pissed off. He's like, you know what, you're making me look bad, so now I'm just going to follow you, because maybe you got better leads than I do, even though I'm a police officer. And then we see the guy from the beginning of the movie who's being a complete dickhead. He's drunk. He's fighting with his girlfriend because she has the keys to the car, and he's drunk, and he wants to pretty much, take his own car. He gets pissed off at her because she won't give up the keys, so I think he slaps her, and then she literally tosses the keys off into the grass, so he has to go look for him, and he's drunk, so he can't really find them that easily. Then, of course, we see the blind guy again with the walking stick as the dickhead Randy finally finds his key and gets in his car and starts revving the engine. The guy's just hitting his car with a stick like, oh, what's this? I walk here? And then the drunk puts his car in reverse, smashes it into another car. At that point in time, Mooney is leaving the same bar that he just came out of, and they get in their car to chase after, or no, Roy first gets in his car to chase after, and then Mooney falls afterwards after following everyone else. It's a really weird car chase as Randy's like getting up on the sidewalk. Of course he's drunk and whatnot, but it's like this action scene, chase scene that's been added into this movie like last fucking second to make like to fill up any like time or whatnot. At this point, at the end of the race though, or the chase, Randy actually flips his car in a field and then runs off in this old building, which is I think a monastery, they said. And of course the monster's somewhere inside the monastery waiting, because that's just how we set this thing up. And then of course Roy and Zoe show up and they start heading into the building as well, and that's when at first I'm like watching this movie, I wasn't sure if they could hear the chanting, because every time there's like chanting off in the darkness, the characters will stop for a second and then they're just be like, must just be the birds or something. I don't know what that is. But yeah, then they just take off like it's nothing. I don't know, if it's complete darkness and I hear this weird voodoo style chanting, I'm not going in there. I don't care what you pay me. I ain't doing it. No, not happening. And then Mooney eventually shows up, and they all run into the building together, at separate times, of course. And Randy gets grabbed by the monster and literally thrown through the fucking wall that lands right in front of Roy and Zoe, and then the creature breaks through the wall, and they're just looking up at it. He's like, oh, shit, we gotta run now, huh? Yeah, I wasn't planning on actually killing this because I don't have any weapons. I don't know what I'm doing here. So then Roy and Zoe run off, and then Mooney sees the creature as well. So he runs back to his car to get his gun because he ran in without his gun. He's like, I should get my gun and call for backup. Roy and Zoe are still running, being chased by the monster. As Mooney's backup finally shows up to the building, all ready to shoot something. It doesn't matter what it is, they're ready to shoot something because they all got their guns drawn. Roy and Zoe run into a room and they lock the door thinking that the creature's not going to break through. Literally just puts his fist through the door like it's no big deal. So they start running off, and that's when they get cornered and then like this dead end where they lock another door that has steel bars. Like, oh, we're going to be safe in here. Shocking. They're not. Anyways, the monster starts breaking the bars off, and that's when I think it might have been Mooney or one of the other officers sees the creature, so they start shooting at it to distract it. And then of course the monster starts shooting back with his laser eyes because he's a werewolf in blue jeans that has laser eyes. That's an alien. Oh boy, this is weird. Zoe somehow gets grabbed during this confrontation because like the cops are shooting at the monster because it's now on a different section now, but like Zoe and Roy are like behind the monster and somehow not getting shot by all these cops that are shooting towards the monster. And then to save Zoe, Roy grabs like this piece of wood that's on fire and like starts poking at it like it's Frankenstein's monster and it's scared of fire. And then the next thing you know, the monster catches fire and blows up into a puff of smoke and there's nothing left and everyone's just looking down where the monster used to be and it's like, huh, wonder what happened there. Just went away. Just like that. Just gone. That's weird. And then, yeah, like everyone's kind of like dumbfounded looking at the ground like, not even any ashes. That's weird. That's really weird. Did it teleport? Hey Frank, did it teleport? Did we think it teleported on fire? And then narrator comes over talking about, you know, how there's aliens in the world and whatnot. And then we just see the blind guy walking with his stick and the credits start to roll because it's just going on like the only man who's not afraid of the darkness is the one who already lives in darkness. And that's why this guy with the walking stick is not afraid of anything. He's always walking around the goddamn movie like he never fucking sleeps because he's got a walking stick and he's blind, so he never sees anything other than darkness, so he's adapted to the darkness, which I thought he was the monster for a while because it just seems like it was setting that up, but I think that was just a, you know, a side tactic because it's kind of weird now that I read the trivia that the original monster is supposed to be an autistic kid who's locked in an attic and then his house burns down. I don't know how that movie would be. I would want to watch that movie though, to be honest with you, because why not? It sounds like an interesting movie the same way this one was. It sounded very interesting because the first line I read was an alien werewolf hunts down people with laser eyes and blue jeans. They make it known that this monster hunts in blue jeans. I don't know why. You don't really see his blue jeans that well, but he hunts in blue jeans and they want to make you know that he hunt with blue jeans on. Yeah, and this is just the movie's over. It's just weird, silly movie. It's fun. You know, the special effects, the late 70s, aren't great. we see a big montage when he's fighting the cops, which I didn't talk about at the end here. But like all these cops are shooting at him, and he's just looking in different directions, and just the eyes go red, and then we just see a laser pop out, and then it goes in the general direction of officers, and either they just catch fire or they actually explode. And there's no guts or anything. They just explode into sparks, and then they're dead and they're gone forever. Yeah, it's nothing great by any means, but it's silly. It's fun. I would like to see more of the general monster concept, like if there's any stills images of him, because I'm curious about this alien werewolf that's in blue jeans. It just feels like something Michael Jackson related from Thriller. But yeah, it's not a bad movie. It's free on YouTube. I would recommend watching it because me being me, I like weird movies. I like bad movies. And especially that this has Casey Kasem in it, and it's a Tobe Hooper movie of all things, which I did not know going into this, which is crazy. I definitely recommend checking it out. I'm going to give it a 5.5 out of 10. I contemplated on giving it a 6, but like I said, the kills are pretty quick. You don't see them, and then the laser eyes are just crazy as hell. They really are crazy because you just see like one shot of the laser eyes hitting these cops that are up in the rafters, and then the rafters explode and the cops just drop to the ground. It's like, oh shit, I didn't think about that. Now did you? Anyways, we are going to start. I know we're going to be short an episode, but I'm going to do it anyways. I'm going to probably make it expand a little bit longer than a month because I screwed up my planning on this because I want to do a month long of Godzilla themed movies. This episode now should actually come out in May, so I've already screwed up the timing because, you know, shocking, that's what I do. But we're gonna start a month, if not more, of Godzilla themed movies, and the first one's gonna be Godzilla versus King Ghidorah, which I haven't watched this movie in a long ass time. I used to come home from school and I can remember turn on the TV, might have been like 4 o'clock, and we had like a Detroit channel where they would be playing old Godzilla movies for whatever reason, and I would watch them, and they would be like the Planet of the Apes movies as well. And it just seemed like almost, it probably wasn't every day of the week, but like maybe one day of the week after school, I would come home, sit down by the TV, and watch an old school Godzilla movie while I would draw on the floor, because that's how kids played back then. You know, and outside, of course. But I'm sorry, me being a fat nerd kid, if I have the chance to play outside or to watch a Godzilla movie, I'm going Godzilla every goddamn time, because I like monster movies, and I like these Japanese dubbed movies that, you know, the voices don't match up with the way the mouth is moving, but that's fine because that's cool. That's part of the enjoyment of this. But yeah, we're gonna watch some Godzilla movies, and I might watch some other kaiju movies because upon researching, I found a lot of movies I want to watch, and this is gonna be a bad thing because I could pretty much just start a kaiju movie podcast, but I know there's a lot of those out there already, so we're not going to do that. But I'm looking forward to watching these, and they're gonna be a hell of a lot of fun, and I might be a little bit biased and just give them really high scores. horse because I just like horrible movies. But yeah, as always, I appreciate you guys for making it this far into the episode. I thank you so much. Make sure to check out all my my social media. The links will be down below. Follow me at Typhonstein on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube being the main thing that we're pushing. We're getting close to the 600 subs now. Yeah, it's crazy. I don't know what to say. I see a lot of people coming out to check out the YouTube channel. I see a lot of comments, a lot of just good feedback, which makes me feel good. There's some negative feedback, that's fine. It is what it is. I don't expect everyone to like the content I make, and that's fine. I like to joke with these people who don't like it too.
So it makes my day enjoyable, and I appreciate everything that you guys do. And as always, make sure to check out the outro band, Toronto-based horror band Blood Opera. Their links will be down below as well. As always, you can find them on Instagram, Spotify, SoundCloud, YouTube, Facebook, pretty much anywhere and everywhere. Definitely go check them out, give them a follow, give them a share, and I will talk to you guys all later. Peace.
I am a whisperer